وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ. There's a third part also that is to be excused from the fasting. The conditions of similar to illness, which is basically is being at an elderly age, person who had passed the age of, I would say, comfort. And the Ayatollah Sheikh has indicated the age 70, 75, there is hardship for the people to fast due to either health concerns or to itself that the continuous daily chores becomes extremely difficult. So they would have to, by their own understanding, to break the fasting so they would be able to continue their own duties. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ. This specific word that says يُطِيقُونَهُ, it means exactly that being surrounded as a person when to be confined in special place, he would feel kind of more, I'd say, agitated or upset or tired. And that would have to make it impossible for the person to continue the normal chores of daily events or daily tasks.
Especially when he or she faces hardship.
Exactly. Right. So the hardship itself, due to age here, فَمَنْ وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ. So what is the alternative to this? Because they have, as Ayatollah Sheikh had said, that the hardship, they cannot fast, so they are to compensate. The word here is used as ransom. I don't think it is really appropriate to use ransom. It would be a compensation or an alternative. So these two, the people who have passed that age and cannot fast will have to alternately pay certain deity to those who are at hardship financially, those impoverished people who don't have money and cannot afford food. They would offer them the food as an alternative or as deity in compensation for not being able to fast. طعام مسكين. The Sheikh had explained that as we offer the food to the miskeen or to the impoverished person, it is his choice to use anything or to do anything with that particular, offering. He can consume that food, he can offer it to someone else, or he could even sell it if he wants to. And the ayah jumps into a totally different part where it says, فَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ. This is one section of the ayah that had been explained differently by many scholars. Is exactly what does it mean that those who would volunteer would be better for them. If we were to kind of continue from the flow from the first part or the previous part of the ayah, as far as offering to the miskeen once a day as mandated, it would be suggested for the person to go ahead and make a more donation and would give more offerings as to complement the good feeling of not being able to making the fast. فَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ. It's definitely good for the person's mind and the spirit and spirituality. وَأَنْ تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. This part of the ayah says, if you would fast, it would be better for you. Now, do we understand some sort of a controversy or a complete perplex from the previous part of the ayah where it suggests that those who cannot fast? Why would he suggest that if you would fast, it would be better for you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this part actually had been explained by the two schools of thought. The non-Shia or the non-Ahlul Bayt school of thought had contended that this part, وَإِن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, would actually reinforce or recomplement the ayah, the part where it says, if you are on travel. That means you can fast even if you are traveling. It would be better suggested for you. Why? Because this actually stipulation in this ayah evidently seems to suggest fasting. And although the travel, as some said that because today's travel, transportation does not put hardship on the person, it would be okay to continue fasting without breaking the daily fasting. Because the person who travels has to refrain from fasting, has to break fasting. Of course, there are ahkam or situations where the people who would travel before noon or the one who would travel after noon. So the school of thought of the non-Ahlul Bayt suggests that if you would fast while traveling, it would be better for you. وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. The school of Ahlul Bayt said that actually this is a separate part because it says وَأَن تَصُومُوا. It is suggested separately as this part tells you that a general understanding of the fasting itself is definitely an extreme goodness and let's say piety for the one's spirit. So وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. It is better for you. It is suggested that you fast because fasting is the best thing for a person both physically, mentally, and psychologically, and spiritually, of course. Therefore, the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt said that actually this does not connect or has no connection with the traveling part. It is a general recommendation by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, suggestion that we do fast. And of course, general fasting would be either the different forms of fasting or the Muslims fasting from food and water and so forth. In kuntum ta'lamun, if you really sincerely know. And Allah would move into the next part, next ayah says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. What is exactly the importance of this specific time, specific month of the year, Ramadan? Is it just for the Muslims to notice or to observe this 30 days, this specific time that we call Shahr Ramadan? Or in reality, actually, it had been re-established before. As the Ayatollah Sheikh Abdallatif had read the riwayah or the tradition from Abu Dhar radhiyallahu ta'ala alayhi, from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is that this month exactly is holy, not only because of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had glorified this month by the Tanzeel al-Quran, or bringing down descending the Quran, but also many other books had descended in this month. The books of Ibrahim alayhi salam was descended on the 3rd of Ramadan. The book of Musa alayhi salam had descended on the 6th. The book of Isa alayhi salam was descended on the 13th. The book of Dawood, Zabur, was, I believe, a certain time, and the Quran Al-Kareem was on the 23rd or 24th, and this is what we call Laylatul Qadr. That's the one that we stay till the morning to supplicate, pray, and do other offerings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, He shows here the greatness of this month, and of course, what had made this month great is the greatness of the book that had been brought to us, which is Al-Quran Al-Kareem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made it a guidance to the human race. Hudan lin-nas وَبَيِّنَاتٍ مِنَ الْهُدَى. This explanation and guidance and ways to lead people to the way of survival and the way of peace. مِنَ الْهُدَى وَالْفُرْقَانِ. And inshallah, bihamdillah ta'ala, this would conclude the ayat. So the general understanding is that those who are in a good health and are not traveling are to fast 30 days of Ramadan. Those who are ill, those who are traveling, and those who would feel hardship past a certain age and cannot continue their daily chores or daily tasks and cannot afford to continue their health-wise, they would have to either make up those days that they would break because they cannot fast, or for the third condition is to give deity to the poor people. And inshallah, we'll continue this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.